Can a corpse become human once more? Today's story sounds like something straight out of a horror film, but I promise you, its ending will touch your soul. This is the story of R, a zombie with no life in his body, yet in his memories, an unfinished love still breathes. The world has ended. Cities are empty, streets are silent. A deep, unsettling stillness hangs everywhere. And the only thing breaking that silence is the heavy, tired breathing of R. R is a zombie. He wanders through an abandoned airport, drifting among hundreds of others just like him, the living dead. They all move the same way. Their eyes are hollow. Their hunger is identical. But R is different. While the others search only for flesh, R searches for fragments of memories. He collects broken records, old photographs, rust-covered objects, things that give him the faintest feeling that once he was human. He cannot speak. He has no real words. But somewhere deep inside him, something still lives. A void. An unfinished longing, as if he lost someone once, and lost himself too. He has a companion, M. They don't speak, but they understand each other. In this ruined world, that silent understanding is their bond. But zombies aren't the only threat. There are the Bonies, skeletal, terrifying creatures who have lost every last trace of humanity. To them, every heartbeat is prey. Behind towering walls, a small group of humans still survives. They are led by the hardened Colonel Grigio and his daughter, Julie. Fearless, stubborn, determined to stay alive, Julie ventures outside the walls with her boyfriend Perry and a small team to retrieve medical supplies. They have no idea what territory they're stepping into. Then chaos erupts. An attack, screams, panic. R comes face to face with Perry and kills him. But this is where the story changes. When R eats Perry's brain, he doesn't just consume flesh. He absorbs memories. Perry's love, his laughter, his overwhelming devotion to Julie. All of it floods into R. And when R looks at Julie, he doesn't see prey. Through Perry's eyes, he sees the girl he loved beyond reason. Julie is shaking with fear. She fights back. But R doesn't attack. For the first time, a zombie struggles to say her name. Julie. R realizes that if he doesn't act fast, the other zombies will tear her apart. So he smears rotten blood across her face to hide her human scent, and pulls her away from the horde. He takes her to his shelter, an abandoned airplane. Julie is certain she's just waiting to die. R wants to explain, but words betray him. Instead, he relives Perry's memories, trying to understand how to make Julie feel safe. He plays an old vinyl record. Soft music fills the cabin. For the first time, the fear in Julie's eyes fades, replaced by confusion and curiosity. Morning comes. Julie tries to escape. She sends R outside and runs. But the world beyond is far more merciless. Within moments, other zombies detect her scent. Death surrounds her from every direction. And then, R appears. This time, he doesn't just protect her. He teaches her. He shows her how to camouflage herself, how to hold her breath, how to empty her eyes. In a dead world, survival means becoming what hunts you. And somewhere between fear and understanding, between memory and instinct, a dead heart begins to remember how to beat. How do you stay human? By learning how to look dead. Imagine that, a zombie teaching the girl he loves how to pretend she isn't alive. On this strange journey, trust is born in the middle of fear. Affection grows where hatred once lived, and in the silence of death, a heartbeat begins that might be strong enough to change the world. Now the question is, can R get Julie safely back to the human colony? And if he does, will her father be able to look at the zombie standing beside his daughter and see not an enemy, but a trace of humanity? On that empty airport runway, Julie's hunger awakened something unexpected in R, a sense of responsibility. He didn't just bring her food, he shared the most precious thing he had saved, his hidden stash of beer. They sat quietly together, few words, but their eyes said everything. The fear of death was slowly leaving Julie's heart. She began to realize that R's heart, though slow, still beat. Julie insisted on going home. She was stubborn about it, but R knew that outside those shadows, death waited in every corner. He couldn't explain it with words, so he used gestures. Not yet. Wait for the right moment. I'll take you back myself. The next few days felt like a strange, beautiful dream. Riding a motorcycle down an abandoned runway, dancing to old vinyl records, teasing each other like children. Julie almost forgot that the boy beside her was a zombie. And R, he stayed awake through the nights, guarding her while she slept. Watching her breathe peacefully was the closest thing he had felt to being alive. But every calm hides a storm. One night, Julie woke up. Quietly, she tried to leave. Maybe one last attempt to return home. Outside, a pack of feral zombies was already waiting. When death was only a step away, this time, he didn't just protect her. He raised his hands against his own kind, even against his closest friend, M. For M and the others, it was unthinkable. A corpse fighting for a living human. Then, From the darkness, the Bonies emerged, dry, ruthless skeletons stripped of all humanity. Fighting them was nearly impossible. R and Julie ran for their lives, but 3 Bonies blocked their path. And then, a thunderous roar echoed in the distance. M came charging in on a massive tractor, crushing the creatures beneath its weight. Maybe R's humanity had awakened something inside him too. The other zombies didn't attack. They simply stood there, watching R and Julie run hand in hand, as if witnessing a miracle. Through heavy rain, the two escaped in an old sports car and reached an abandoned town. Inside an empty house, they found an old camera. They took photographs together, capturing moments the world might never see. But there was a weight on R's heart. That night, he found the courage. Looking into Julie's eyes, he told her the truth. Perry had died by his hands. Julie didn't speak. Her silence screamed louder than any accusation. Maybe she had already suspected. Maybe she understood that Perry's memories were still alive inside R. That night, R had a dream. For the first time, he saw himself as human, clean, smiling, alive. He was confessing his love to Julie, but when he woke up, Julie was gone. She had returned to her safe zone, the quarantine. R was alone again. But he wasn't the same zombie anymore. He could feel the cold sting of raindrops on his skin. And that sensation belongs only to the living. Meanwhile, M found an old poster, 2 people standing hand in hand. That single image stirred something deep inside hundreds of zombies. A spark. Light returned to their eyes. Memories resurfaced. Hearts began pumping blood again. It was nothing short of a miracle. They were becoming human. But the Bonies would not accept this change. This was no longer just a love story. It had become a war between life and death. The question still remained, would R and Julie ever see each other again? And if they did, would these newly reborn humans survive the wrath of the Bonies? The world stood on the edge of collapse. The Bonies ruled the darkness, merciless, cold, emotionless skeletons untouched by love, untouched by change. But in that darkness, something had begun to move. R and Julie's bond was no longer just a relationship. It was rebellion. A spark that threatened the very foundation of the Bonies' dominion. They swore to erase this beating change at its root. R knew Julie was now in greater danger than ever. But this time, he wasn't alone. M stood beside him, and many others like them whose humanity was slowly returning. They formed an army, not to hunt, to protect. The massive city walls that separated humans from the outside world seemed impenetrable. But R carried fragments of Perry's fading memories. Through those memories, he found a hidden route and slipped into the human settlement. With his cap lowered, moving like a shadow, he stood beneath Julie's balcony. When she stepped outside, her breath caught. R. She pulled him inside immediately, and when she embraced him, she felt something that changed everything. His body was no longer ice cold. There was warmth returning. He was living. But the real test was still ahead. Colonel Grigio, a hardened man who had turned hatred into armor. To him, a corpse could never be human. When R tried to speak to him, hiding behind makeup, the colonel raised his gun without hesitation, aiming straight at R's chest. The room fell silent. The air thickened. Death stood one trigger away. And then, Nora stepped forward. She aimed her gun at the colonel. Loyalty had shifted. She gave Julie and R a chance to run. Outside, the scene was a nightmare. The Bonies descended like a storm from above. Below stood the zombies, half reborn, halfway to humanity. Gunfire, screams, bodies colliding. Humans and once zombies now fought shoulder to shoulder against a common enemy. Running through the chaos, R and Julie reached a dead end. A wall ahead. Death behind, R tightened his grip on Julie's hand. He looked into her eyes for one brief second, and jumped. They plunged into the pool below. The impact knocked R unconscious. Without hesitation, Julie dragged him from the water. Fear in her eyes, desperation in her hands. In the shadow of death they kissed. And then, Julie saw it. The color of R's eyes had changed. He was fully human now. But at that very moment, a roar echoed through the air. Colonel Grigio pulled the trigger. The bullet struck R in the chest. Julie's scream tore through the sky. But in the very next moment, everything stopped. From R's wound, no thick black fluid poured out, but bright crimson blood. Blood. The kind that runs only through the veins of the living. Slowly, the colonel's gun lowered. For the first time, there was no suspicion in his eyes. Only regret. Hatred had lost. The humans stepped forward and embraced those lost ones who were reclaiming their identity. And the Bonies? Those who could never change, they faded away. The massive airport wall that once divided two worlds now lay in ruins. In the red glow of the setting sun, R and Julie stood side by side. In the distance, M and Nora shared a single umbrella, quietly enjoying the rain. This isn't just a story about a zombie. It's proof that as long as hope and love remain in the heart, no one is ever truly gone. Now the question is yours. Do you believe hatred can truly be defeated by love alone? Thank you for being part of this journey.